Live from the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California, it's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
All right. Happy Friday. Let's see. Here we go. Welcome to the Trichomes Morning Buzz. Here are your top cannabis headlines. First up, GOP Congressman requests hearing on FDA's failure to set CBD and Delta-8 THC regulations, which seems to be a little bit of a continuance from our conversation yesterday. And for a lack of other, state and federal headlines, we're going straight into the state's updates, which includes New York, which New York regulators approved more marijuana cultivators as state prepares to launch retail stores this year, and New Hampshire House votes to give Senate another chance at passing marijuana legalization. All right. Well, if you're joining us for the first time, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps things out. And hey, Skeletor and Little Mac, we made it to Friday. Glad to see you here in the comments. It's been a week. It has been a week. So glad to see everybody here. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. All right. Well, breaking straight into this. We've got the first story about Delta-8 coming out of, let's see here, Marijuana Moment. And again, the headline is GOP Congressman requests hearing on FDA's failure to set CBD and Delta-8 THC regulations. Again, we were talking about Delta-8 yesterday and how it's more of a synthesized cannabinoid. But here, let's go into the article. The top Republican on a key congressional committee is calling on leadership to schedule a hearing to hold the FDA, the Food Drug Administration, accountable for its lack of action to set regulations for CBD and Delta-8 THC products. Rep. James Comer from Kentucky, ranking member of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, said in a letter to Chairwoman Carolyn Maloney of New York that the purpose of the meeting should be to examine the failure of the FDA to develop a regulatory regime that effectively oversees the sale of hemp-derived extracts such as cannabidiol or CBD. He said that the current lack of regulations has led to mislabeling, contaminated products, and advertising that targets children. We must hear directly from the FDA to ensure the agency has a plan to institute a regulatory solution that can effectively monitor the sale of hemp products and protect the health of children, he wrote. The federal legalization of hemp under the 2018 Farm Bill Act was a bipartisan effort. Members across the aisle have since then been pushing for further reforms to create a regulatory framework. FDA is cognizant of these complaints, but so far has declined to enact rules providing for the marketing of legal cannabinoids and food products. Let's see. Comer goes on to say the FDA's failure to establish a regulatory regime for hemp is enabling mislabeled products that contain more THC than the legal limit to be sold, Comer said, referencing the 0.3 THC limit per dry weight for legal hemp items. Unfortunately, mislabeled products have caused many adverse health events in children. All right. Well, we definitely were talking about that yesterday, and we'll get back into that in the comments a little bit because I know there was quite a few opinions and thoughts about D8. And next, we're going on to New York. New York's been a topic for a while here. They're coming in and they're getting things figured out on a state level. It seems, when it comes down to into the rules that they're putting in the shops and trying to keep those horses out in front of the cart, so to speak, they're doing a pretty all right job. Final implementation will be the decider of that. But let's see. New York regulators approved more marijuana cultivators as state prepares to launch retail sales this year. New York regulators on Thursday approved a second batch of applications for recreational marijuana cultivation as the state prepares to launch its retail sales. The Cannabis Control Board, CCB, granted an additional 36 cultivator licenses for existing hemp businesses as part of the state's Seeding Opportunity Initiative. The body approved the first 52 applications last month, and regulators will continue to review the bids on a rolling basis. So, as I'm reading that, is they approved people who were approved to grow hemp in New York. So out of the New York Office of Cannabis Management, the New York State Controlled Cannabis Board has approved 36 more adult uses, approved 36 more adult use cannabis cultivation licenses from across the state. New York's family farmers are growing product to be sold this year at retail dispensaries owned by New Yorkers impacted by the criminalization of cannabis. Governor Kathy Hochul signed a bill from Assembly Majority Leader Crystal People Stokes and Senator Michelle Hinchy to create conditional licenses in February. The intent is to allow existing hemp operators to get a head start on growing marijuana to meet the demand for a forthcoming industry. So, hey, again, really doing a thing to try to get it out. I don't know how much you guys know about the California market, but while cultivation and that kind of thing were allowed for up front, the shops really never came to fruition. So the first year here, we had something like 6,000 growers licenses and 400 shops. It was doomed from the beginning. So it's good to see other states taking the cue and trying to do something different than what we did. So next up, we have New Hampshire in the news. And the New Hampshire House votes to give Senate another chance at passing marijuana legalization. The New Hampshire House of Representatives isn't giving up on marijuana legalization just yet, with members taking a new approach to reform after the Senate defeated two cannabis legalization bills last week. While the Senate voted against the separate proposals to legalize marijuana home cultivation and create a state-run cannabis market, the House wants to give the chamber another chance to enact the policy change. To do that, members adopted an amendment to an unrelated Senate-passed bill to include non-commercial legalization proposal. Let's see. Advocates are skeptical that the maneuver will work, but they support the strategy of continuing to put additional pressure on the Senate to hold their members accountable. We've talked about that before. It's really about continuing to put the pressure. You get the signatures, you go, you put the bodies in front of them, you show them that people care about this. And so on Wednesday, the House adopted the amendment to attach the text of Cannabis Bill HB 629 to SB 299, legislation that deals with criminal justice reform that already cleared the Senate. The body then approved the bill as amended on a voice vote. Frankly, if you're like me and you're tired of hearing about cannabis bills, let's send this one more time. Let's send this one more time and be done with it, Terry Roy said on the floor Wednesday. This term, all of us on both sides have put a lot of work into these bills, and we were convinced the majority of 400 people in the House to pass the bill and to have it die for no apparent reason in the Senate, he said. So we're going to send it again to give them another chance. This bill passed by a 2-to-1 majority in this House. So again, you're seeing the powers that be. Let's see, the 15 senators who opposed HB 629 should be expected to explain again and again why they think adults should continue to be punished for cannabis possession in the live free or die state, Matt Simon said, Director of Public Health and Government Relations for Prime Alternative Treatment Centers of New Hampshire, and he told that to Marijuana Moment. So what HB 629, which is now attached to SB 299, would accomplish: adults 21 and older could possess up to 3/4 of an ounce of cannabis for personal use. They could further grow up to 6 plants, only 3 of which could be mature in a secure location out of sight from other properties. Cannabis gifting up to 3/4 of an ounce of marijuana or up to 3 immature plants would be permitted between adults 21 and older. Processing marijuana into cannabis-infused products, including edibles and tinctures, would be permitted as well. Public consumption would be permitted and carry not permitted. Public consumption would be prohibited and carry a civil penalty of $100. And then adults who violate cultivation rules by, for example, growing plants visible to other properties would face a maximum of a $750 fine. And there you go. That's the headlines for right at the moment. And yeah, Where are we at in the comments? Holy moly, you guys are all here. Thanks for clicking in. And it looks like we got a whole bunch of the usual suspects. I thank everybody for doing that, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this up here for anybody who's new to the channel and catching us for the first time. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and log into the Trichomes app and check out who's there. So hope everyone's having a great morning. Let's see here. Jason Gitamora, Funny ASF, Rooted, and Manny23. Thanks for joining from the app. It's great to see you all on the app here too. I know we got a live scroll going on. So, and what is your pH? Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good to see all of you. So again, that's I'm talking to people on our Trichomes community app. I've talked about it here on our channel a couple different times. And so, while you're here on the YouTube channel, please make sure to like and subscribe. But if you're interested about our cannabis platform, right? We're not just cannabis friendly. We are a cannabis platform. If you're interested in joining that community, it's in its final moments of the invite only invite only beta phase, of which the link is provided below. If you're here in the comments, if you're here in the live, you're more than welcome to join. So thanks for doing that. I'll leave the comments up for, the link up for a second. It is Friday and I'm feeling it. Holy moly. Holy moly. So again, I want to throw a shout out to everybody at YouTube, Little Max Skeletor, Laura Camp, thanks for joining in. Stephen Woods, Joey420, all you guys, thank you very much. We got John Phantom in the house. Little Mac 86 as always, Tim Greenglass, Warshaw Q. Thanks for joining everybody. Make sure we go. All right, I'm going to get back here. I saw a couple questions. Let's see. All right. Little Mac 86. All I know about Cali Bud is 20 years ago, I got some from the traditional market there, and it was the best this Ohio boy ever had. There's a lot to be said about the traditional market over here in California. 100%. It's legacy. It's ingrained into a lot of the hearts and souls of Californians over here, and there's a lot of people who've been doing it for quite some time. 20 years ago, right after the advent of medical laws here in California, you saw a lot of people that were holding on to genetics come out of the woodwork, and that's when 96 to 2000 had some of the most fire genetics come out, and it was amazing time period. Let's see here. Warshaw Q, you think the MORE Act will go through the Senate before midterms? I ask because I'm sure there will be a red wave hitting come November, and it's possible the Republicans will control the House. Well, on the latter part of that, the statement there, I'm a little less politically inclined. I'm not sure who's going to be controlling the House, but my personal opinion is that the MORE Act will not be going through before the midterms. There's too many hurdles standing in the way. You've got now a couple other acts and bills that are being passed and up right now for consideration, and really, as we were talking about yesterday, there's actually a little bit more momentum going for the Safe Banking Act right now, in the way of the fact that it's an immediate need. Not that the MORE Act isn't, not that getting people out of prison and decriminalizing isn't, but it seems that the partisan nature of this is holding it back a little bit, and these other bills are holding it back a little bit, while the Safe Banking Act is putting people in peril, both owners of dispensaries and the patrons that utilize them are facing every day, through the fact that, again, there's robberies happening every day. There's people being held up at gunpoint, and yeah, there has to be a solution for it. And the Safe Banking Act seems to be something that they're pushing for a little bit more now, based on the fact that the MORE Act itself has been pushed back further and further and further. And the authors of that bill, Schumer and Booker and the other guy, have gone from the beginning of this year to, it's going to happen in April, to, we might get it in before the end of the session here. And that's too long. And there's a lot of people within the Senate, within the House, that are pushing for this to go a little bit differently. Skeletor, you said best bud I ever had was 20 years ago. Exactly. I was just exactly what I was saying. A lot of those original genetics came out. We had a lot of land race strains. You had a lot of those strains that weren't crossed. Now it's hybrid nation. A lot of things, including the beloved skunk we were talking about, were bred away for larger yields. A lot of time, but in the case of the skunk, it was bred away from the skunky smell because essentially it was tough to get away with growing it. It smelled like skunk, and your house smelled like a skunk factory, or for those that knew, a hell of a lot of weed being grown if you were growing a skunk. So let's see here. John Phantom, I used to eat seeds. I still eat bud a little bit from time to time. Don't tell anybody, okay? Let's see here. Mexican brickweed in the 90s in New England, between the brickweed and the BC buds and that kind of stuff, kind buds was the term back in the day before the chronic, before all that kind of stuff. You had the kind buds, and that kind of stuff on the East Coast. And, Canada was responsible for that. And it's kind of funny. Brickweed and BC bud was definitely something that brought us through the 90s for sure, until all of a sudden the advent of the medical laws and a lot more of these home grows and outdoor grows going on in California. Well, then, and people starting to take risks across the country. Joy 420, missed the chocolate tie as well, 100%. 100%. Let's see here. Stephen Woods, did you ever hear red hair sent back in a day in 1990? I'm not sure I'm understanding that one. I'll get back to that in a second. Cake pop strain from Veritas Growers. Yeah. Oh, and you're talking about the red hair strain. Um, yeah, you said red hair scent back in the days, but the red hair strain back in the day. Yeah, it's one of the first times in high school. I was freshman year, and we got a bag of what we lovingly called the red hair. And I'll tell you what, that had us sitting in the bush smoking weed out of those game day, the little angel pipes. Well, angels out here, but baseball. I said pipes. We made it into a pipe, but the souvenir bats that are about 18 inches long. We cut off both ends. We drilled a hole into it, put some tin foil over the hole, and then we're smoking bowls out of the souvenir bats from Angel Stadium over here for that red hair back. Yep, that was shit. 1996. Well, no, 1994. But yep, the red hair was definitely some fire back then. Tim Greenglass, he said, I gave up on weed here. They mix hemp with the real thing or squirt it with crap, the evil greed. Now I vape the Delta 8, 10, and HHC, etc., and don't care about being on the down low. There it is. This is something that we were talking about today. And the only problem that I have for people who live in states where they don't have access, medically or whatnot, you're dealing with people who again are greedy, and whether they're spraying hemp flower with Delta 8, or they're using compromised Delta 8, Delta 10, HHC. Again, there's you're betting on the purveyors, you're betting on the company being good actors, and that's a problem right now in a lot of that market there. So I wish you luck with that. I don't know what state you're in. I apologize. I said it earlier. It might be my memory going a little bit, but yeah, I don't know what your state in, but I hope they get something around on the medical laws here shortly. Let's see. All right. Little Mac 86. There's a good theory. My theory about brickweed is that it had more CBD in it than disco weed does now, and that CBN from it getting old and dry before we got it. That's funny because CBN is definitely a degradation of THC. So if it was stored in the wrong conditions or stepped on or whatever they do to get it across the border and brick it up, yeah, there's probably some definite degradation going on, and could account for why even back in the day, the brick weed got you high and give you a head change. So let's see here. Yeah. Skeletor, you said most people are only concerned about the THC content. That's absolutely. We just on our IG, we put out a story about how people are buying weed wrong and have been for a while, especially since the advent of legal markets and that kind of thing. Is everyone thinks higher THC means a better high. Higher THC is a better bud. And realistically, when you've got companies out there competing for higher THC and labs that are willing to test on the higher side of things, and then the difference of a 5% give or take on either side, yeah, you're getting some pretty darn high testing uh, can cannabis plants. It's I've never prior to these years I hadn't seen 40% THC cannabis, and now 35 to 40%. Well, 30 to 35 is really irregular. But I have seen a couple with overall cannabinoids at a plus 40%, of which, you know, half of the weed is trichomes. It's darn near impossible. But hey, you know what? There it is. Um, People are doing it because brands are doing it because people don't know any better. Going back to we were talking about in the beginning of my growing days, when we were growing, he was testing it between 18 and 23% when you're talking about the Bubba and the Master. And when you're talking about Bubba Kush or Master Kush, those two things at those percentages would lower anybody's eyebrows and definitely um, put you at a lower level. They were indicas, I'm going to say put you in the couch, but realistically, they were also very functional highs, but they hit you like they're supposed to hit you. And again, I never saw the Bubba tested really anything over 20%. And I just I I'm a fan of a couple strains out now, but it's hybrid nation, and really it's tougher and tougher to find things that are more specific to what I'm looking for at certain types of the day. And then it's getting tougher to follow your nose and know what you're smelling. And I think Skeletor said it up there. It's the smells are getting the same. There's a lot less smell, a lot less pungent odors in the terpenes, and that's because things have been bred away from that almost purposefully. So let's see. Little Mac, cannabinoids greater than THC, absolutely. Donkey Limit, you're here. Ah ha ha, high school. We legit cut all the red hairs off one by one and fired them in like one of 1,000 of a puff, thinking they were way stronger. Hey, we've all done things of which, you know what, it was part of it. I literally one of the first joints I rolled on my own with a friend of mine who came over. We had some brick weed and I rolled it in lined paper, something like this. I literally tore this up. We rolled a whole quarter in it and went to my backyard and proceeded to char the shit out of our lungs. Uh, I remember it working to some degree, but I know it didn't work for too long because the paper was going to be burning and smoldering and that kind of thing. But holy moly, the things that we have done to get here, um, from smoking out of cans to the copper pipes and all that kind of stuff. 100%, 100%. We've all been down that road. So, Little Mac 86, it's getting tougher. That's why the homegrown is so important, especially for medical patients who need particular effects from a cultivar they can consistently have access to. Absolutely. Absolutely. When you're talking about pharmaceuticals, you're talking about ingesting something for medicinal value, it's important that you get a regimen going, and it's really tough to get that regimen going if you're constantly going two different strains and different cannabinoids for that. While it does mix it up, and while it does provide a fresh high and helps you stay away from tolerance, it also provides you different effects and different outcomes. Some things might not be as good for pain. Some things might not be as good for your mental health or awareness or that kind of thing. So really, the for medical patients, especially, the inability to dial in on a certain strain or get that consistent supply it's a tough thing. So that's a great point there. Oh, everybody's breaking it out. Jeez, Gardens of the Grove, the Bible paper, the blank ones. I spent a couple formative years in the Huskow, and really they issued you the small Bibles, and yep, like you said, they have the blank pieces, and there's blank pieces of paper, and really that's how I learned how to roll a good joint. I wasn't very good at rolling joints before I went to jail, and all of a sudden I'm in jail, and you get these little one hits, and won't tell you how all that shit got in there. That's a little preview, but it's one of those things. You get a bong rip for a joint for your ration, and you take a little piece of that Bible paper and roll it up into a pinner that looked like a toothpick holder. So yeah, that's hilarious that you brought that up, because yep, I've done that, and that's actually how I learned to roll the best and tightest joints. Someone brought up steamrollers. Oh yes, oh yes, those had affected my life as well. I had about a foot long one with about a 3-inch chamber there, 3-inch round or whatnot, and yeah, shotgunning that thing would definitely lower the eyelids. Definitely hit you right upside the head. It's like a bong except unfiltered, right? Let's see here. I'm going to check in on the app here real quick. I've seen a bunch of comments coming on. Hey, Pumpkin, good to see you. Alien Tokes 420, what's up from Oklahoma? Happy Friday. Slan GA, good to see you. Rooted, what's up? Good to see you. And Charles Marie, 2006, good morning. Hey, everybody, for checking in from the app. Thanks a lot. It's always good to see you all in the community and how things are going. We got that live feed there, so definitely love you guys joining. Thanks a lot for clicking in today. So yeah, it was a slower news day, but really love jumping on with you guys, both here on the YouTube chat and in the community chat. It's a great conversation. One of the things I wanted to make sure that we talked about here real quick before we go, of which we're not going to go right away, but before we go, I wanted to make sure that we'll throw that up here. But this is May, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I just want to throw it out there. You never know who is struggling with what. And if that's you or someone remember that there are people out there who care. Maybe it doesn't feel that way sometimes, but people do care. It's part of our human nature. If it is you, reach out. Reach out to someone or find a qualified professional online to talk to. And if you're the one that's doing okay, reach out to that friend is going through a tough time. You never know when something as simple as a phone call or a hug will make a huge impact in someone's life. And our community itself, we are a community of people who self-medicate. We're a group of people who for whatever reasons veer away from pharmaceutical meds. We veer towards antidotal medication, of which we've come to rely on, that kind of stuff. And there's a fine line sometimes in cannabis and mental health. It's one of those deals that, again, as people who are adults and participating, it's kind of our job to responsibly consume and that kind of thing. And that's knowing when you're down and knowing when other things contribute to these problems and that kind of stuff. And really, I just wanted to say, for anybody out there that's going through it, know that you're not alone. Know that, hey, this community has a whole bunch of people that care in general, but realistically, again, us as humans, it's worth it to reach out. It's tough times a lot of people are going through, but realistically, it's worth it to reach out. So I wanted to pull attention to that just because, again, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and our community sticks together, and again, just like our comments here and our group here over on the Trichomes app, we really have a decent community, great community, that has each other in mind. So that's it. Wanted to mention that before we go. And let's see here. We're back into the rigs that we've been trying. Um, let's see. Gardens of the Grove. Where do we go to get the app? So you can either download it from the Apple Store or Google Play for iPhone or for Android. And for that, you will be requiring this link. We have this official invite link. It isn't still in its closed beta period. We're going to be doing that for about the next month and a half. Got some exciting things we're going to be rolling out here and talking about on the app, and more so out in public and our YouTube and TikToks and all that kind of stuff, and getting out there, letting people know that they're going to be able to jump on without the link here shortly. So for those of you who have come to the community already, get ready for a bunch of promotions and fun things happening in the community prior to us letting everybody in and Katie bar the doors. It's going to get crowded in there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's see here. Holy moly, Gardens of the Grove, gravity bong with 2-liter and dad's socket set. That's funny. Yep. Let me see if I can put this in the chat here. That should do it. So yeah, we've got the James. You asked for it to be in the chat, and I think the link should be there. I hope that works for everybody who's in the chat. Alien Tokes, thank you very much. Thank you for that. Alien Tokes says he absolutely loves the app. So for anyone on YouTube, if you know Alien Tokes, take his word for it. He loves it. It's a great app. We're working on it every day. We're bringing more people to it every day. But the one thing about us and the one thing about our app is that, again, where people claim to be cannabis friendly, we're a cannabis platform. Of course, we're cannabis friendly, but beyond that, we're a cannabis platform. You're meant to be there. The products you want to talk about, the things you want to talk about, they're there, and they're not getting taken down. So come post anything you want to about cannabis. Know that, hey, it takes a little getting used to. There isn't really a cannabis platform out there where you can post anything you want about cannabis. I had to get used to what I was posting as well, because realistically, I post a lot of stuff that I don't post on IG. I post a lot of the grows that I had taken down from TikTok, and things I certainly wouldn't do here on YouTube. So definitely go ahead and sign up for there, especially if you like these conversations we're having here on YouTube. Let's see here. Yeah, no, these pieces, it's it's trip down memory lane with everyone talking about this stuff. I think Little Mac, I think you might have left already, but I did. Yeah, this is a great talk. Really glad everybody has checked in here. And when it comes down to our community, both on the app and here on YouTube, we've really had a stout group of people who've stuck with us from the beginning. And right now, as everyone knows, we've been going through some changes here at Trichomes, not only with the people here, but with the programming we're putting out, making sure that we're listening to the analytics, which essentially the analytics that YouTube provides us is you and the viewership and that kind of thing, as to what you like and how you like to be engaged, and how we can engage you better. And that's what we're really working on here. So if you liked the shorts, the YouTube shorts before, and the minute updates, and you like the condensed version of the buzz, have no fear. We're working on getting that back in. in the meantime, we just wanted to just make sure we stayed connected, and this was one of the best ways to do it. Is the freeway side chats and showing up here in the morning. And again, thanks everybody for showing up, because makes my day. Really enjoy this part of it, and I like talking about cannabis. So thanks for letting me do that. And with that, I'm gonna say, hey, it's May 6th. I got a friend who's got a birthday. Gonna throw a shout out to the owner of Dime Vapes. Happy birthday there, Mike. Have a great weekend, and to everybody else. I think there's a special day, Mother's Day, coming up this weekend. And so to everybody out there who's got a mom or married to one, hope everyone has a happy Mother's Day. And to all your mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Be well. We'll catch you on Monday on the next morning buzz, and we'll talk about who the next anchors and stuff are going to be. But Skeletor, unfortunately, the blonde-headed beauty, she's no longer with us. She's on to her to chase down her passions in life, and we will be having someone else join us for those minute segments. But yeah, sorry, you're gonna have to deal with this for a little bit longer. So everybody, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.